Outback Radio 2WEB with Chris Dover. It is Tech Talk time on Outback Mornings, and joining us is Matt Dickerson for the regular segment. G'day, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, morning, Chris. Great to chat about technology again. Good to see you joining in the technology segment as well.
You are the tech man. You've got better knowledge than me, and it's great to have your knowledge each week. Now, tell me, how close is a car racing game to the real thing, Matt?
Well, so close, but a 22-year-old gamer who just won a competition recently and picked up a cool $1 million for his gaming skills, they've transferred him across to the racetrack, and his first official race, he won. So there's a lot of talk about how close the simulators are and how good the racing car simulator games are, but this is a real testament to the fact that you can literally be an expert gamer and then translate that to the real world. It was actually a Jensen Button team that he came and raced with. So Jensen Button, obviously a former F1 world champion. So he came and raced. It was a two-person racing team. They went and raced. The game had got them up into third place. The real racing driver, if you call him that, then took over and got through to the checkered flag in first place. So I think we're going to see more and more of this. People that are winning gaming competitions are going to be picked up by some of these racing car driving teams.
It's good to hear that kids who are on their Xboxes or their PlayStations all the time are gleaning some skills from all the time they spend on these devices.
All the time I've spent, Chris, telling my kids to get off the game, stop playing games, stop wasting your life. Now you're telling me I've got to go back to them and say, actually, it's okay to keep playing.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got an 11-year-old and he's a huge gamer. He loves it, and he's into this game called Roblox. Have you heard of Roblox?
I have heard of Roblox, yeah.
He loves it.
So the important question, Chris, is have you played Roblox?
I do play with him all the time because he's in Sydney and I'm up here, so we do play. In fact, we had a bit of a game last night. Moving on, listen, Samsung's Galaxy Unpacked event will stream in the early hours or Thursday morning. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there's a fair few teasers that have been put out already, and obviously these big events, when any of the big tech companies host one of their big events, they're trying to make people excited and get people really excited about it. But I almost think Samsung's gone too far with this. They've released so many teasers that we kind of know everything that's going to be announced on Thursday morning. I mean, I'll be up early in the morning to watch the event anyway, so I can report it to you next week and tell you exactly what happened. But essentially, we're going to have a new Note 20. So the Note 10, very popular phone. For anyone that loves the stylus, loves to write on their phone, the Note product is a fantastic product. They've obviously got their Galaxy products in the version 20, so the S20s have been out since March this year, and this will be the Note 20 to follow up. The Galaxy Fold 2, you may remember the Fold phones from Samsung, released about a year ago initially, were released to a great amount of fanfare until journos got them and started breaking them, and then they were quickly recalled. And this is kind of hopefully the next iteration of that, and hopefully we'll have a lot more reliability. The new Galaxy Watch, Galaxy Earbuds, Galaxy Tab S7, so a range of new products. 5 main products will be released at this particular event, and they'll probably be available maybe within about 2 weeks to maybe 4 weeks is usually the time frame after they're announced. But again, the thing for you and I that's fantastic, Chris, is that you've got Samsung, you've got Apple, you've got various companies, LG, Sony, different companies trying to release new products on the market, and they're all trying to leapfrog each other. And for you and I, it just means we get better products at the end of the day.
I was one of the first people to buy an Apple iPhone in this country, and I've been locked into Apple ever since because that's what sort of happens. You buy all the apps, so they sort of lock you in. But I'm a happy Apple customer by the main. But I recently bought a Galaxy Watch, and it works with the Apple iPhone.
Yeah, they try. A lot of them do, and that's one of the ways that they try and take you off the competitor, if you like. You can buy one watch from one competitor and it'll work with the other ones, or the same with the earbuds, the various buds. Some people buy the Galaxy buds and use it with an iPhone or vice versa. So you've got that ability usually. Sometimes you can't, but usually you've got that ability to have that sort of cross-platform compatibility, because what the manufacturers are trying to do is make it easy for you to switch over for all of your products.
Yes. Now, are you ready for a world of no-touch screens? So we've become so used to touch screens. What's going on there?
Well, it was actually a bit of technology that was being developed for the car industry. And what they found in the car industry is that it's actually quite difficult and distracting to be driving your car and then reach over to your touch screen accurately and actually touch something on the screen. So there's various solutions that I've seen. I know one car that I've driven had a little trackpad in the centre console, and that was a bit strange, using a trackpad to try and control almost a mouse-like structure on the screen itself. but there's some research that have been working on the ability for people to point at the screen rather than actually touch the screen. And again, that was initially for a car technology or a car solution, but now with COVID-19, we're all being encouraged not to touch things, yet we go about our world and touch lots of touch screens. So a touch screen that you don't touch doesn't make sense, but this is what researchers at the University of Cambridge have actually worked out, that you can actually design this touch screen that you point out, uses artificial intelligence, works out the way you move, the way you actually move your hand, the way you hover your hand, and you'll be able to select items on screen without actually touching it.
Right, so you'd still have a screen, you just wouldn't have to touch it, you could just point at the icon or whatever, which would be a safer reality for driving, as you say.
Exactly right. Safer reality for driving as it was first designed, but also as we go about our world. For example, in Sydney, you go and catch a train, you might go to a touch screen to buy a ticket. How many other people have touched that? And it's a hard surface. So we know COVID-19 stays on hard surfaces much longer than on a porous surface. So that might be there from, virus might be sitting there that was on there from a day ago. So the idea would be you walk up to a touch screen, it would have all the same features, but instead of touching, you'd actually just point at it and gesture towards it to actually choose your various options.
I just thought of something else, Matt. If you don't have to touch the screen, it would be a lot cleaner because of the COVID-19 threat, wouldn't it?
Well, that's exactly right. That's the idea of maybe taking this concept, this technology across from the car game into the rest of the world.
Yeah. Now, what was the cause of the Telstra internet outage over the weekend, Matt?
Well, we did hear from Telstra officially on one of their Twitter feeds that it was a cyber attack, and so obviously everyone's a little bit nervous when they hear things like cyber attack, and so there was a denial of service attack. And what happens there is that basically someone floods a provider or floods a website with so much traffic that you get a denial of service, a DOS attack. And that's essentially what Telstra said happened on the weekend, mainly in Sydney and Melbourne. We did see a few people out in these regional areas that were affected by it as well, only with home broadband. It wasn't with mobile phones. But now Telstra have come out and said, no, actually, sorry, it wasn't a cyber attack. It was just, we're not really saying, but a bit of a problem with a DNS server. So essentially, not a cyber attack, just some problem internally at Telstra.
Right, some really interesting talk there this morning, Matt. Thanks for your time this morning. We will talk to you again next week for more Tech Talk. Thanks, Matt.
My pleasure, Chris. Talk to you next week.